Welcome back, dear viewers, to Let's Play Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. We return to Grumbletooth, the deep dwarf fighter of Machleb. I like this guy, Grumbletooth. He's coming along nicely. We have a reasonable number of things at our disposal. Let's head back to our stash here real quick. Oh, what is bothering us? This frog? Slay the frog. A snake? Slay the snake. Alright. If you haven't, by the way, if you haven't used this command before, T will let you give orders to your summoned or otherwise allied critters. And if you just press T again, you shout. Let it all out. Ah, here we go. Here's our stash. Okay. One thing I forgot to do last time is to make a waypoint, which you can do by pressing Control W on your PC keyboard. I sadly don't know the command for Macintosh, Apple products. So I'm sure there's another way to do that. Maybe the little function key W. I don't know. It's in the command somewhere if you go to the menu. But okay. So what do we have here? Let's let's keep that on. Let's put on this ring of sustenance while we're just messing about with our stash. I really should have put it on before we traveled back here, but no worries. Let's pick up these scrolls of identify and check out these couple of potions. Potion of paralysis. Whee! Potion of invisibility. Invisibility is actually somewhat useful to us. Where's paralysis? Here we go. One interesting thing you can do, though I generally don't bother, you can leave these bad potions on the ground in areas that have intelligent monsters, and sometimes they will wander by and pick them up and drink them. Thinking that there's something else, which is very good for you. But that's sort of a lot of ifs to make that happen. Okay, we have just a ton of scrolls of enchant armor. That's actually really nice. What we eventually want to have as one option for our body armor is gold dragon armor, which can be created by killing a gold dragon, skinning it, and if it happens to leave behind a hide, well, first it has to leave a corpse, and then you have to butcher it, and then hopefully it leaves behind a hide, and then you can use a scroll of enchant armor on it, and it will turn into gold dragon armor, which is awesome! It gives you resist fire, and resist cold, and resist poison, and it also gives you a hefty chunk of armor class, some very large number of armor class points, and also the heavier your armor, the more armor class you get from your body armor, the higher the base armor class, the more effect your armor skill has, the more of a benefit you get from that. So it behooves you to use really heavy armor if you plan on training up your armor skill, or vice versa. Yeah, gold dragon armor, I think it's like 12 armor class base. Crystal plate is maybe 14, with plate mail being 10. It's heavy stuff, but it's really good. Okay, I think we're good. We'll go ahead and keep this potion of porridge with us. You never know when it might come in handy. So, the question is now, what do we want to do? We have several options. We have the shoals, we have the spider's nest, we have level 7, maybe 8 of the Lair. We haven't found Orc yet, so it's got to be on either elsewhere on level 11 or on level 12. I haven't explored all of level 11 yet, which is an option, but I feel like that was a really tough level of the dungeon. We were taking a lot of damage. Whereas the Lair has been pretty easy, I think. So let's let's try level 7 in the Lair. I feel like that's probably our best option. What? Oh, I guess it just let us know that we're very hungry. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. This Ring of Sustenance is kind of nice, just having it around. We're going to go ahead and wear our Ring of Protection and our Ring of Dexterity for now. We have a good number of rings, sort of utility stuff. Oh, yeah, there's the slime pit. I don't want to do the slime pits. We don't have the gear for that. A glowing quarterstaff. Humph. I will eat you, hound. There are probably more yaks in this area. I don't think I've ever seen a yak come alone in the lair. I'm just too curious for my own good. We're not even going to use this quarterstaff, but wanted to try it on anyway. An interesting thing to note, if you remove your shield, you'll notice you can't train shields. You can't put points into shields unless you're wearing one. So you can't train it up before you use a shield. You have to suffer through the penalty for a little while. But our skills are actually coming along fairly nicely. Long blades, we have reached... what am I doing? Here we go. Yes, we have reached minimum delay with our scimitar, at least, and I think most long blades in general. I think some of the two-handed ones might have a higher gap between regular delay and minimum delay. So that's good. At this point, you know, we're obviously going to keep training it because we're going to keep getting damage benefits from it. But I think what we can do actually is unfocus it for now and turn on fighting. It's no longer a priority. It's no longer the benefit that we get from each skill point from here on out is significantly less than the benefit that we have received from each skill point thus far. Wow. Blink frogs and yaks and... Let's pull these guys upstairs. Yeah. Oh, level 13. Cool. I think we get maybe one more level of magic, passive magic mapping. I'm not entirely sure. It would be nice if we did. It's, as you can tell, it's pretty nice as it is. It gives us a good idea of, you know, where things are. If there are temporary branches, it makes them easier to find. I don't believe it reveals monsters. It's not like the demon spawn's antennae. Or, I don't know, I think there are some other effects that Ashanzari, I believe. Well, Ashanzari definitely gives you magic mapping. I think she also... Ooh, wow. One hit, killed a black bear. That's cool. Check out this wand. What does this wand do? Digging. Ah, those are very useful. Especially here in the lair, because what you can do is you can dig into solid rock like this and create a hallway, whereas otherwise in the lair choke points are quite rare. Ooh, a fan of gales. I'm a fan of gales. Get it, you know, like a fan of, you know, gales. Yeah. Anyway, this is one of the 4 elemental evocables. They are reusable, but it takes a while to recharge. You have to gain experience for them to recharge. You can't just walk back and forth a whole bunch. This sweeps things away from us and summons some air elementals. And the higher our evocation skill, the higher the chances that they will be friendly. Evocations we will want to train up to no more than 15. That's about where diminishing returns start to be pretty brutal with it. Our dodging, by the way, is rapidly gaining. And oomph, we've already gained another point of evasion from it, which is very nice. Yeah, so the Fan of Gales is good because we have points in evocations. Even if you don't have points in evocations, it's not the worst idea to carry one of those around in case of just absolute emergencies. Though, it really should be a last resort if you have no points in evocations, since the chance of it even going off is pretty low with that. I feel like these blink frogs aren't going to be a problem for us. Dodging at level 2, still 10 evocations. Alright. Yeah, so they can deal a little bit of damage to us. The reason why I'm fighting this out here is because I do have a way to make the fight easier with this newly acquired Wand of Digging, and also because I feel like we have enough resources that we can afford to expend a little bit of them, a few of them, in experimenting with how much damage we're taking from these things before we get into a situation where we're surrounded by stuff and we don't know what to expect as far as damage goes. And also because Machleb will heal us up after we kill things. Periodically, not all the time. Oh, Rupert. He is a rough one. A man of very bad manners, whose roars can make an ogre envious. Paralyze, Confuse, and Berserker Rage. What is our magic resistance? Not great. Okay, so we have several options here. And I'm trying to think of which one is the best. Okay, Rupert is just, he's very strong because, first of all, he has a great mace, which has very, very high base damage. It's a base damage of 18, I think. At least 16. I really should check that out. Great mace is 17. Alright, split the difference. So 17 base damage plus his brawn. And it's glowing, so it has some kind of enchantment at the very least, some, you know, bonus to its accuracy or damage. It's highly unlikely that it's glowing because it's cursed. Like, just because it's cursed or because it has a penalty. It probably also has a brand of some sort, which is potentially extremely painful. We only have this Ring of Resist Fire. We only have, you know, and we'd have to put it on anyway, which means we would have to take off our Ring of Protection, which I really don't want to do. The other reason why Rupert is very dangerous is because Paralyzation removes all of your evasion. The only exception is the Demon Spawn mutation of the Repellent Field. That is a great mutation. It does provide you with its slight evasion bonus even when you are paralyzed. So, hooray! And he can confuse us. That I'm not as worried about. We have a ton of potions of curing. Enough that we should actually probably drop some off in our stash at some point. Not many ice attacks in the lair, so I'm not too concerned, but... okay, so... options. We can just bombard him from afar with our wands or our destruction, our Machleb abilities. I feel like this is definitely a situation where we want a lesser servant. We still have on this Amulet of Faith, or this, you know, artifact amulet which has a faith property, which means that we can sort of spam even the abilities that take piety, although maybe not the greater servant. Let's see. Yeah, moderate piety, small piety, small piety. Okay. Yeah, we can kind of spam our abilities a little bit. So we could just summon a few demons, let them take care of him, and, you know, sort of stand back, and when we get the opportunity, zap him with stuff. I kind of like that idea. I really don't want to go toe-to-toe with him without at least something to distract him. If we have an ally, if he paralyzes us and we're just standing there looking like a dork, at least our ally can continue to attack him while he's hitting us in the face. I don't trust the Greater Servant at 12%. That's nowhere near high enough. Our invocations we want to get up a lot higher than 8. I forget exactly what the formula is. You can never get rid of the chance that they will be hostile, but around 15 or 20, I think it's in the single digits. It's a different formula from just its failure rate. So don't be fooled. It's not a 12% chance and a 0% chance that these will be hostile. It's like a 15% chance or something for each of them, which is a disincentive to summoning one here. If it's hostile, we could be in deep water. I mean, if we summon a hostile demon and then he paralyzes us, we're probably, well, maybe not dead. We have a lot of hit points. We have 110 hit points. But we're definitely not going to be happy. Other options, we can go invisible. I don't believe he can see oh, no, he can see invisible, so that won't do us any good. Yeah, see, things are already starting to be able to see invisible. Like, and it takes so much to use. Like, the spell is a level 6, 5 or 6 spell. This evocable, we have 8 skills and evocations, and we can't even use it reliably. Like, they really need to rework invisibility, I think. That is one of the things in this game. And, you know, invisibility is very good, don't get me wrong, but the only times when it's really good are in the early game, early to mid-game. And basically when you can't use it. So, yeah. Alright, so let's summon a demon. Just a lesser one. Do we want a second demon? I think we might want a second demon. Oh, see, that one's hostile. Well, at least we got a friendly one first. Yuck. Let's summon a third demon. Okay, good. So, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I don't really want to use this potion of haste. We are limited in our hasty options until we find a wand of hasting, which will be nice. I assume we'll find one eventually. Might be, you know, 2 steps away from the Orbazat, but we'll probably find one eventually. Potion of agility won't do us any good because our evasion will of course be removed if he paralyzes us. Like, I'm really not too concerned about going toe-to-toe with him except for that paralyzation. Because our armor class is good, assuming that we still have an evasion of 10. It's you know, reasonable damage reduction. It's not great, but it's reasonable, assuming that we also dodge attacks, you know, a third of the time or so. And if we don't dodge attacks a third of the time, we're gonna take some damage. So then we're gonna step back to here. This guy, since we ordered... Did we order him to attack? I don't remember. No, we didn't. But he seemed to get the hint and go after him anyway. He moved towards him. This guy may or may not move towards him. He may just cast spells. Yeah. I think that he smote him. It's kind of hard to tell when you have more than one of the same type of creature which does what in these messages. There might be a way to tell. You could probably, like, label them somehow, but... Oh, that's really cool. I never knew that there were quotes for these monsters. Wide is the thin gray strand floating up from the forgotten cigarette between my fingers. Why does it trouble me? D.H. Lawrence. Cool. What is Rupert's? Oh, he doesn't have a quote. Okay. Huh. Well, that's interesting. I'll start experimenting with that. That's kind of cool. Alright, so back to the fight. This guy will hopefully step here, and we can just bash him with our scimitar. Or slice him up, as the case may be. And this one will help us with that. While this one distracts Rupert, then this one will help us take on Rupert. The question is, do I want to wait for a turn, or is there a more productive use of my time? Surely there is a more productive use of my time, if only zapping this guy with a Wand of Frost. I think that's a reasonable use of my time. Yeah. There we go. One of our smoke demons is paralyzed. But Rupert is confused somehow. I don't know. Probably he's wondering which of them to attack, so... Sticky Flame is bad for our scrolls, but we don't have too many, so I wouldn't feel too bad about it. Are these guys resistant to fire? Very resistant to fire. Okay, so our brand doesn't do anything, really. Okay, good. As I suspected. So Wands of Frost, oh, we can't actually shoot at him because it'll hit this fungus. If you worship Fadasmadash, the plant god, plant goddess, plant deity, you can actually fire projectiles and whatnot through plants without harming the plants, which is good because you are punished for hurting plants. We could use this Wand of Lightning. That would just travel on through. It's a bolt effect, not a beam effect. That seems reasonable. Yeah, let's do that. 6 charges left. That's fine. Oh, can we multi-zap him? This might multi-zap him. No. Just a single zap. Okay. Yeah, multi-zap is a really cool feature of lightning bolts, and also the shock spell, which is what you start with as an air elementalist. It basically they bounce off of most walls, so you can do cool things with reflection. If, say, if I were to be standing here and he were to be standing here, then I could fire at this wall and it would hit him on the way in and on the way out. So that's why lightning is cool, even though it deals less damage than fire or cold bolts. Alright, so I think we can just go toe-to-toe with this guy now. Shield. Our shield prevents us from hitting him. Yeah, it's going to be really nice when we get that to level 15, and that no longer happens. We slash and burn Rupert. Good. Our smoke demon's doing some work. And he's even attacking the smoke demon. Now, you can tell that you can see he's a little confused. That will happen if you have allies, especially if they're flanking the opponent. I think that influences the confusion factor. I don't know for sure. I have no hard data, but it seems to be the case, and it would make sense from a flavored context that, you know, flanking is confusing for the foe. Yeah, I think we're gonna be fine here. Oh, there he goes, Berserk. You strike the helpless Rupert from a blind spot. That's good. Awesome. Good. Wow. We actually ended up with more hit points than we started with. Swell. Cool. Well, good. I am curious what kind of great mace he was hitting us with, though. Oh, well. No, let's not keep disrobing. Let's take care of this pack of sheep. Sheep are not as scary as yaks, which in turn are not as scary as death yaks. Death yaks are pretty rough. All right, let's try out this. A great mace of pain, huh? I bet his necromancy skill wasn't very high. I bet that's what kept us from being too damaged by it. There's no good reason for me to try that on to sort of test ID it, where ID it, because we never plan on using maces. Maybe if that was an artifact great mace, it would be worth giving it a shot and switching over, but that's highly unlikely, because it would take a ton of time to train the skill up. Conceivably worth it, probably not. We can just hold out for a cool greatsword or whatever. Greatsword wouldn't be the best. A claymore is the best two-handed sword, with the bastard sword being the best one-handed sword. Bastard swords in real life are called hand-and-a-half swords. They are designed to be able to be wielded with two or one-handed styles. And they're generally too heavy for, too heavy to wield one-handed for not super strong people. Thus the hand and a half. But yeah, they're very good in this game. I think it's 16 base damage. It's the highest one-handed base damage weapon, with the Evening Star coming in second. It's the counterpoint to the Morning Star, which isn't all that awesome. A Morning Star is not as good as a Trident. Same damage, or not a Trident, a Demon Trident, sorry. I think. It might still be 13, maybe it's 11, I don't know. Maces and flails do good damage. You've got the Morning Star at 13, the Evening Star at 15 for one-handed, and then the Great Mace at 17. 18 and 19 being the max damaging weapons. Like, the only way to get a 19 base damage weapon is to Oh, no, that's not true. 18, yeah, 19 damage. Claymore is 19. Blessed Claymore is 20. So there are some 19, 20. Executioner's Axe is 18, I guess. There are a few things that have a base damage of 20 or more. If you're an ogre and can wield giant clubs. I don't know. I know that Nagas are also a large race, but I am not sure if they can use giant clubs and giant spiked clubs or not. Regardless, they aren't very common. Okay, I saw somewhere around here a fire drake of some sort. So let's pop on our ring of protection from fire and drop our scrolls of magic mapping. Yeah. We resisted, yay. That breaks line of sight. It was possible for the drake to step up here simultaneously with us stepping here, but I figured it would be unlikely since he would probably be either moving towards us or attempting to breathe fire at us. So it gave us this actually legitimately gave us a turn of reprieve, since now he has to get back into line of sight with us. Line of sight is reciprocal in Crawl. If you can't see them, they can't see you. That's why the Lantern of Shadows, or the Night Stalker mutation, or now Dithmengos, the something god, the shadow god. The god's name is Dithmengos, but originally in development it was Dithmengos, which is an anagram of something, because they couldn't think of what to call him. This isn't a situation that warrants using consumables. I didn't want to be out in the open where, you know, every time we killed a yak, we got blasted with flame. That seemed like a poor strategy. Dodging is level 3. We're at 11 evasion. Awesome. I am glad that we are getting good returns from training dodging. Get our scrolls back here. I would love to swap this artifact amulet out for an amulet of conservation. The 4 dexterity is a nice little perk, but ultimately, like, our stats, while nice, are not going to be as important to us as our equipment. Equipment tends to trump stats. That's not a hard and fast rule, but you can generally live by it. Like if you have a, you know, hand axe of chopping or something, and that also gives you 10 strength, and an executioner's axe that gives you no strength, go with the executioner's axe. Generally speaking, I think that's how the math works out. It takes a lot of a given stat to oh, yikes, this is actually kind of a scary spot that we're in. I shouldn't have taken another step in there when I saw that druid. Well, I don't think we're going to die here. I don't think that this area, yeah, like, it's mostly filled with these summoned yaks. This area isn't large enough to contain too many more enemies, and we are in a choke point, so I think we're okay. We can just beat up this druid. Oh, I should check what spells he has. Stone Arrow can do some damage. It's a level 3 Earth Conjuration spell. Awakened Forest sounds really scary. I hope he doesn't do that. Wow, his quarterstaff also is pretty... A root lunges up near us. Ugh, yikes. This Brigand Druid is healed somewhat. There we go. Good. The forest abruptly stops moving. That's good. I didn't like the idea of a forest attacking us, you know, surrounded on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides by trees. It's maybe foolhardy to continue exploring this forest prior to the rest of the level. I think it would behoove us to make sure there's nothing lurking around any of these other corners before we tackle any other druids. Not sure that there are any more. If it were level 8, one of the Lair branch endings is this giant forest with a ton of Spriggans in it. And it has killed me before, for sure. on more than one character. I've either been overconfident or surprised by the presence of it. You know, just kind of wandered into it blindly and been very sad. Okay, so Lair level 8 is going to be tough. Man, dodging, each point of dodging, well, not the first one, but every point past the first, I think, has given us a... Level 2 and level 3 gave us a point of evasion each. That's really good. I'm glad that we're getting nice returns from it. We aren't wearing very heavy armor. We're wearing ring mail, which is encumbrance rating of 7. And our armor skill is decent. Man, I can't wait for shields to get to 15. That's going to be really nice for us. For one, because we can turn off the stupid thing. But also, it will, you know, it will be a noticeable difference. One thing we can do is just poke our heads down into Layer 8. It's not one of those branch endings where you're likely to die right away if you poke your head in, unlike, say, the shoals. Shoals can be really rough. So yeah, let's poke our head in, partially because I'm hungry and I want some sustenance. We can just kind of tab attack these sheep down. Apparently they can damage us, but not very much. We'll eat one of them. It just gave us one chunk. That's fine. Let's switch this over to... Oh yeah, we had that on for the Drake. I was like, why are we wearing resist fire? It's probably not necessary. We're probably completely maxed out with Piety with Makhleb at the moment. We haven't been really using his abilities all that frequently, and we've been wearing this Amulet of Faith for a while, and we've been at max pips of Piety for a while. You do continue to gain Piety beyond the instant that you reach that 6th pip, asterisk, whatever you want to call it. Get ourselves in a little hidey hole here. This isn't usually the best strategy because obviously you can't get out. There's no escape route. But when it's just a convenient place to make sure you don't get mobbed and you're pretty sure you can kill everything, not a bad place to be. I would not retreat in here if I were fighting, say, elephants. Elephants are pretty scary. You also never try to stare dance an elephant. Just don't do it. You will end up sad. Because they have a trample attack, which will just push you off of the stairs, since everything adjacent to you gets a free attack on you when you climb stairs, or descend stairs next to them. And everything next to you also can climb up with you. Oh, yay, finally! A scroll of blinking to replace the one that burned earlier. Forget what burned it. Oh, and a scroll of recharging. That's also nice. We don't even need to use it right away. It's basically, like, this is the equivalent of getting a free mana point. It's the same effect. I actually really shouldn't be auto-exploring. The smart thing to do is just go back up here, not go down the escape hatch, the one-way ticket. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. And he don't care. My baby don't care. I'll stop that now. Sorry. We wanted to pull the wolves upstairs, just, you know, because Komodo dragons can hurt. Yeah, look at that. 18 damage in one go. One thing that's kind of nice, if you have two different types of enemies next to you, and they are both at full health, if you press tab, you know, the sort of auto-attack button, the attack nearest enemy button, if there are two equally close enemies, it will go for the one with... I don't know if it's the one with more hit dice or just the one that the game thinks is more dangerous. But if you have, you know, if you're standing next to two things and you have no clue what one or both of them is, you can make use of that aspect. Great sword. 16 base damage is nice. I mean, it's 4 more than what we're using. But first of all, it's two-handed, so we'd have to ditch our shield. And secondly, it's probably not branded or enchanted or anything. It's not glowing or ruined or any of that business. Oh, I'm so greedy. I'm not going to approach that water. I bet it's just stuffed full of electric eels. Ooh, lindworm. It's going to be one of those branch endings, huh? Well, let's summon a demon. Just to distract from us while we put on a ring of resist fire instead of a ring of sustenance. Seems good. Let's... Convulsus and agony, yeah. That's one of those situations where... Okay, good. We'll eat the lindworm. That's fine. Makaleb doesn't care how powerful the monsters are that you sacrifice. Unlike Okawaru. He'll take any old sacrifice. As long as you cause destruction, he's cool with it. I've always thought that's a cool message when you reach maximum piety with a deity. They're exalted by your worship. It's cool. This is clearly the branch ending. They're statues in a vault-like looking area. Ugh. Okay, good. Managed to close with them. It's really nice. I actually am having a lot of fun playing a character that doesn't follow Chabriados. Is it? Oh, I wanted to double check. Chabriados. Yeah. I mean, anytime that you haven't heard a proper noun pronounced, if it's a fantasy game or something, it's hard to tell exactly how it was intended to be pronounced, but I tend to go with Chabriados. Anyway, that's the slow god, the snail god. Let's summon a demon and kill these elephants. I'm curious as to their strength and ours. Elephants are pretty tough. They do a lot of damage. I think they do more damage if they go to trample you and your back is against a wall. I think they, like, squish you against the wall, kinda. But I'm not sure about that. But yeah, okay, that's good to know. We seem reasonably strong, although I'm not sure still how much of that was just good fortune. Hard to tell. These demons are being good to us, though. I mean, except for the ones that we summon that are hostile and therefore not even remotely good to us. Also, I am playing a character with evocations now, so decks of cards are a possibility. I kind of want to wait until the card rework, though, to mess around with them. Ooh, I should not be auto-exploring. What am I doing? That's very dangerous. With a branch ending nearby. Don't want to just blunder into a horde of something or other. Probably a bunch of lindworms and hydras. Lindwurm probably is. Lindwurm. I don't know how the German pronunciation goes. In the past, I've had roommates that have spoken a number of interesting languages, and I can speak none other than English. I can fumble around in Spanish and French, but my mistake was taking both. I should have stuck with one, or... I should have either stuck with French or never taken it and taken Spanish instead. Instead, I know this sort of pigeon speak that's unintelligible to everyone. We have already discovered that we're not bothered by these ice beasts. We took on a little bit of an ice cave earlier. Okay, I'm just gonna poke my head around here and see. Ooh, an artifact leather armor. Oh, an ice demon. Maybe this is the branch ending and that over there is just something else. I don't know. Let's use some major destruction on it. Oh, it's out of range. Well, we can take a step towards it. Oh, and a statue. Jeez. It's gonna be tough to get to that leather armor. Shucks. we don't have any kind of cold resistance. I don't feel confident about our ability to... Maybe. Yeah, let's leave that for now. Sling bullets of flame, that would actually be really helpful in this particular circumstance if we possessed a sling. Barpadar. Oh, no, I don't want to walk into the travel excluded area. There's that demon again. Just mocking us. I'm not sure. It doesn't actually look like there's a way to cross that lake. I hope not. That demon seems strong, and we don't have any. Oh, there must be, because I think that's the ice beast that was summoned by the statue. I bet over here somewhere is an ingress. No? Maybe not. It's weird. I don't know where that came from then. Maybe it summoned another one? It's nice wielding a sword and having plants be, like, actually killable. With maces and flails, it's surprisingly difficult to kill plants. Ah, yaks. Oh, we haven't seen any death yaks this run, have we? I bet there are a bunch right around the corner. Death yaks are really strong. Respect the death yaks. You should respect regular yaks, too. They can actually do damage to you. But death yaks, yeah, death yaks are rough for a long time. If we had 10 more armor class than we do, I would feel confident about taking on more than a single death yak. Like 2 death yaks I would feel confident about. As is, I only want to take on 1 max. I don't really want to fight any. Really, I shouldn't be on Lair 8. Lair 8 is tougher than, like... Oh, God! Yeah, let's get out of here. Fortunately, that death yak was turned to stone by the Catoblepus. If anybody knows how to pronounce that word, let me know in the comments, because I have no clue. Yeah, that's a Catoblepus. Catoblepus. Who knows? Alright, so I'm going to leave that. I don't... that seemed like a mess. Death yaks and a Catoblepus. I kind of like saying Catoblepus. That rolls off the tongue better than the other things do. Dodging? Yeah, we're getting great return from dodging. One option for us, if that leather armor is awesome, is switching over to that leather armor. But we can't really get to it right now. And it's probably not going to be as good as our ringmail anyway. Just because it's... well, its base armor class is only 1 lower. And we do have a Helmet of See Invisible and a Ring of Resist Poison. We have a Ring of Flight to get across. I'm really trying to talk myself into doing Lair 8 before I do anything else. And that's probably the wrong decision. What other options do we have? We could poke our heads into either the shoals or the spider's nest. I would prefer spider's nest. I think that... yeah, let's go to the spider's nest. I will cut off this video here, and when next we meet, we will be surrounded by insects. Thanks for watching.